Good day, everyone. Today, I'll present the payroll summary for our employees for this month. This includes their basic salary, overtime, government deductions, and net take-home pay. So the goal is to show how each payslip is calculated clearly and accurately. Without further ado, let's begin. Now, let's dive into the payroll summary of Grace Lim. In this section, we provide Grace Lim's essential payroll details such as employee name, Grace Lim, designation, administrative ID, date of joining, NA or not available, the pay period monthly, and the pay date July 7, 2025. To the right, you'll also see her paid days is 20 and loss of pay days is 0, meaning she worked all her scheduled days this month. Here's an explanation of the functions you see in the screen. On the earning side, the B36 stands for the basic salary, which is the 18,500. Next is the B36 divided by 160. It calculates the hourly rate, so assuming 160 working hours per month. Multiply 4 means the employee did 4 hours of overtime. Multiply by 1.5 applies the 50% premium, so overtime is paid at 150% of the normal hourly rate. So, it computes the total overtime pay. Next is the cell B40, which is the formula of B36 plus B37, which it adds the basic salary and overtime pay to get gross earnings. On the deduction side, which have the functions of B40 times 0.05, it calculates SSS contribution as 5% of gross earnings. Cell E37 calculates pag-ibig contribution 4% of gross earnings, but if this amount exceeds 200 pesos, it is capped at 200 pesos or it is fixed. Cell E38, which it calculates bill health contribution as 2.5% of gross earnings. Cell E39, which it sum-ups the 3 deductions above to get the total deductions. So here comes the bottom part, which is B40 stands for the gross earnings, E40 for total deductions, and E42 minus E43 is equal to net pay, gross in earnings minus total deduction. This part shows the Grace overall income, which is we have the basic salary of 18,500 pesos, the overtime of 693.75 pesos. A third row is empty, likely reserved for other pay types such as allowance or bonuses. And for her gross earnings calculation, the basic salary plus overtime, which is equal to 19,193.75 pesos. For her deduction section, rows 40 to 41, Grace has 3 standard government deduction, which is the SSS cost of 959.69 pesos, Pag-ibig Fund 200 pesos, PhilHealth 479.84 pesos, and no tax was withheld for this period. So the total deduction calculation is equal to 959.69 plus 200 plus 479.84 is equal to 1,639.53 pesos. net pay calculation, rows 42 to 46. This section finalized how much base will actually receive. So her gross earnings is 19,193.75 pesos. The total deduction is 1,639.53 pesos, and the total net pay is 17,554.22. So this is the amount to be credited to her account or paid in cash for this month. So next, I will now walk you through the payroll computation of Mr. Jake Villanueva, a warehouse assistant as recorded in our payroll system for the pay date July 7, 2025. First, let's look at the employee's general details on the top left of the sheet, which have the employee name, designation, date of joining, pay period, pay date. On the other side, it shows that Jake worked 20 pay days and had 0 loss of pay days, meaning he was present for all scheduled working days. The earnings sections. This part outlines Jake's income or gross earnings for the period. You have the basic salary of 16,000 pesos. This is his fixed monthly salary, overtime of 300 pesos. So the formula is equal to basic salary plus overtime. So 16,000 plus 300 pesos is equal to 16,300. The deduction section is the part where it lists all the standard government deduction, which includes SSS, Pag-ibig, and PhilHealth. So for the SSS, you have 815 pesos as social security contribution, 200 for Pag-ibig, and 407.50 pesos for PhilHealth, and no tax was deducted this period. So for computing the total deduction calculation is we have to add 815 plus 200 plus 407.50 is equals to 1,422.50 pesos. So, the net pay section, here we calculate Jake's final take-home pay. He have 16,300 pesos minus 1,422.50 is equals to 14,877.50. So this is the amount Jake will receive in his bank account or in cash. So here's an explanation, the fraction below. So the earnings side, the basic salary is the fixed month amount. So overtime calculated by taking hourly rate is equal to basic salary divided by 160 hours and multiplying by overtime hours, adding 50% premium or multiplied by 1.5. So the gross earnings is equal to basic salary plus overtime. And for the deduction side, it's all based on gross earnings. So the SSS is 5%, Pag-ibig is maximum of 200 pesos, PhilHealth is 2.5, and the total deductions is the formula of SSSS plus Pag-ibig plus PhilHealth. And for the net pay calculation, you have to use the formula of net pay is equal to gross earnings minus total deductions. This payroll table lists each employee's name, position, and type of compensation, such as monthly salary, hourly rate, or commission. The rate column shows their basic pay, while overtime pay is calculated by multiplying their hourly rate. The gross pay column adds together the base rate and overtime pay to get the total earnings before deductions. The SSS and PhilHealth deductions are each computed as fixed percentage of the gross pay, while the Pag-ibig deduction is capped at 200 pesos if it exceeds that amount. All these deductions are summed up under total deductions. Finally, the net pay column shows the actual amount each employee receives, calculated by subtracting the total deduction from the gross pay. The spreadsheet uses formula to automate calculation, making it efficient for payroll processing. The formula in columns M and O demonstrate the calculation described above. This spreadsheet provides a simple yet functional payroll system. It is easy to update with new employee data or changes in pay rates. However, it's important to note that it's a basic system and might lack features found in more complex payroll. And that's it. Hope you understand and have a good day, everyone.